Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to set up secure Syslog on a Cisco ASA using Splunk as your Syslog server. So in order to do this, you're going to need multiple things. And the first is going to be the ASA. You're going to need a certificate server that can issue certificates. In my case, I'm using Windows Server 2012. With the role of MSCA installed. I have a Linux box that has Splunk installed on it. And you're also going to need the apps and the add-ons. So if you type in splunk.com and add-ons into your search engine, you should see this hit right here. Apps and add-ons enhance and extend the value of Splunk. Go ahead and click on that. You'll scroll down into the middle of the page where it says Get Apps and Add-ons for the Splunk base. In the search field, go ahead and type Cisco. You'll see a drop-down list appear. Cisco Networking Apps for Splunk. Go ahead and click on that. And you'll need to log in to download this. You'll also want the Cisco Networking add-on. And you'll need to log in to download this as well. So the app and the add-on. Once you have those two files downloaded, you can head back over to wherever it is that you have Splunk installed. And on the main dashboard, go ahead and click Splunk Apps. Up here on the title bar, go ahead and click Apps and Manage Apps. Over here on the right top, go ahead and click Install Apps from a File. Choose a file. And wherever you have those files stored, the add-on and the app, go ahead and upload those into Splunk. Now in my case, I already have them installed. So if you already have them installed, you should see something similar like this red banner basically saying that it already exists. But if you don't have them already installed, you probably have to go through a reload process. Go ahead and go through that process, and that will be the end of step 1. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is we need to install certificates in 2 locations, one of those being the ASA. The other location is being the place where you have Splunk installed. These certificates are going to be used to encrypt the Syslog traffic. Okay. And we'll go ahead and start off with the ASA. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a key for my certificate. So crypto key generate RSA and a general key, and I'm going to give this a label of asa.section.local with a modulus of 2048 bits. Key is generated. We can look at that key with show crypto key, my public key, RSA. And we can see that this key has now been generated. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a trust point. So crypto CA trust points. And you can give your trust point a name, anything that you want. I like to keep things consistent, so I'm just going to give it the name asa.section.local. And I kind of like to think of a trust point as sort of like a profile that includes details of your certificate, things that you want to include in your certificate sign request, such as a fully qualified domain name, your key pair, how you actually want to enroll with the CA. So when you import certificates, do you want to do that over the wire, or do you want to do the cut and paste method? In this case, I'm going to do the copy and paste method, so I'm going to do everything from the terminal. So enroll terminal. I'm going to type in the fully qualified domain name, which is asa.section.local. My key pair is going to be that RSA key that I just generated. And then I'm going to type in a subject name, and this basically will include identifiable information in my certificate. So common name, put in the fully qualified domain name of section.local, put in the country of US, state will be Florida, location will be PCB, organization, we'll just put Test Lab Inc. And the organizational units, we will say, I'll just say IT. Okay, hit exit there. And now I'm going to import the root certificate into the ASA. So crypto CA authenticates asa.section.local. It's going to ask for the base 64 encoded format. Going to open up IIS, drill down to my cert server, browse on port 80, download a CA certificate, and then download the base 64 format. Download CA certificate. You can see that it's been downloaded. It's now in my downloads directory. I can see that it's been issued by and to basically the same name. This is a self-signed certificate. This is my root certificate. Just go ahead and call that root. Going to open it with Notepad. Copy. And paste that in to the ASA. Hit enter. Quit. Do you accept this certificate? Yes, I do. And the certificate imported successfully. We can do a show run. And, oh, I went too fast. And there is my root certificate. Now I'm going to issue a certificate sign request, which is enroll asa.section.local. Do you want to include the device serial number? Say no. Display the certificate request to the terminal? Yes. Going to copy this certificate, go back over to my CA, where it says request certificate, click on that, advanced certificate request, and go ahead and copy that information into where it says base 64 encoded certificate request. I'm going to click web server, submit, and download in the base 64 encoded format because this is what the ASA will be expecting. Download certificate. We can see that it's just been downloaded. Go over to the downloads directory, and we can see that my root CA has now created a certificate out of that certificate sign request. In the subject field, you can see the details that I included in the trust point. Just go ahead and rename this ASA. I'm going to open with Notepad, copy text data, go back over to my ASA, and I am going to now import that certificate that the CA created for me out of that certificate sign request. So crypto CA import ASA dot section dot local certificate, paste that in, hit enter, type quit, and everything has been imported. I can look at that again. Alright, and now there's the certificate and there's the CA certificate. So they have both been linked together. Okay, I want to make sure that I can successfully navigate to this CA via HTTPS, and that I don't get any errors, because I want to make sure that everything has installed correctly. So asa.section.local, and I'm going to navigate from the inside. HTTPS asa.section.local. Oops, too many T's in there. Okay, I can see that the certificate was installed successfully. I didn't get any warning messages saying that the site was not secure. I can see that there is my root CA, and there's my certificate, and there's the chain. Okay. So that does it for the side of the ASA for installing the certificates. Next, I'm going to go over or remote over to my Kaylee box where Splunk is installed. Okay. And I have a directory called CA. And in this directory, I have four subdirectories, one for cert, one for certificate sign request, one for dir format, one for private keys. Now, in the last video, I showed you how to install a certificate into the Splunk web browser. All right. So those certificates already exist in here. My root CA, my identity certificate, these two certificates together in a chained cert, or in a chained file. I also have my private key in my privates directory. So I'm going to leverage the work that I have already done. And in order to set up the server side for secure Syslog, you need to combine into a single file the identity certificate and also the private key. And the order does matter here. The order is important. So it's going to go the identity certificate first, followed by a private key, and then naming that into another file. So cat root CA cert Kaylee certs, and then the private key, just in the privates directory, Kaylee private key. I'm going to output that to a file in root CA certs, and then call this syslog Cisco-tls.cert.pem. And I can see that it exists right there. If I want to output that file or display that file, let's just do syslog. And I can see the beginning of my certificate, my identity certificate, the ending of my identity certificate, the beginning of my private key, and the ending of my private key have now been combined. Okay, so now I need to actually modify the inputs file. So I'm going to go over to Splunk, etc system local, and then inputs. Now, you can already see that there's some information in here. Probably something that you already have in this file is default host equals Kaylee. You might not have this already here. And this was when I had set up Syslog for, just basic UDP port 514 with the source type of Cisco IOS. And this information is basically sent over the wire. And in this STASNA here, or this setting, is that so the Splunk server can expect the Cisco data. But over the wire, that data is not encrypted at all, and it's basically just sent without a response from the server because it's UDP. So I'm going to set up another section here so that the server side is prepared to actually receive that data, that Cisco data, on a secure port 6514. So TLS SSL dash or colon / / 6514 with the same source type equal to Cisco. Okay. The other section that I have to include is for SSL. And the only thing that I really have to put in here is the server cert, or the path to that certificate that I created, that combined certificate that I created with the server cert and the private key. So root ca certs and then syslog -tls.cert.pem. All right. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and put SSL version TLS 1.2. I think that is already in the defaults configuration file, but I'm going to put it there just in case. Okay. Just going to take a quick glance and make sure that I do have that spelled correctly. Syslog-tls.cert.pem. I'm going to save that and look at that file one more time. Syslog-tls.cert.pem. Okay. So that looks good. So now I'm basically going to restart Splunk. .bin Splunk restart. And this will take about 30 seconds, maybe a little less. Okay, yeah, a lot less actually. Okay, so everything started and everything pretty much started without any errors. Now, now we'll move back over to the ASA. And I'm going to look at some of the logging commands that I already have in here. Logging, okay? So to get logging basically set up on this side, and it looks like I pretty much have everything, but you would just go ahead and type in logging enabled. And then of course you're going to want to make sure that you have everything time-stamped. And this really sort of assumes that you know, you have NTP already set up. So I have NTP already set up. You don't have to worry about, you know, authenticating NTP. I just do it anyway. Show run logging. The notifications, this level right here is basically the severity level that you want to, you know, send over to your Syslog server. Now, this is probably a good place to keep it at the severity level of 5. Now, now if you keep anything, like let's say you, for example, you were to send over a severity level of informational, well, that's basically going to display every single you know, either UDP or TCP message that's coming in from the inside. It's just going to flood. Now, I'm showing it right on the console right here, as you can see. But if you send informational over in your trap messages, it's just going to flood your syslog, you know, server with so many messages, and it's just not going to be something that you're probably going to review. The only time that you would probably need to do something like that is if you were troubleshooting, you know, an issue from one end to the other. So keeping your trap level at notifications is probably a good place just to keep it. You know, if you need to modify that, that's of course your discretion. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but you know, I keep it at notifications. I think that's a good place to keep it at. Okay, so also including the logging device ID of hostname, I like to put that in there. It gives some more identifiable information about the device. So when syslog messages are sent over to the server, you get that host name in there as well. And the other thing here too is now typically on a router or a switch, if you want to set up, you know, logging, it's very simple. I mean, it's just one command. I mean, all you have to do is just say logging host, point to your server, and you know, voila, it's kind of like just set up. But on the ASA, kind of have to specify just a little something extra, especially if we're doing secure syslog. So we say logging host inside, give it the IP address, and it's going to ask you for a protocol, in this case the transport protocol, so TCP, and the port number is not 514, but 6514. And then this is where the magic happens, where we set this, where we have this word secure, and this actually establishes that TLS connection. Okay. Now, what I need to do here is I need to actually open up Wireshark so we can see that TLS handshake taking place. And I'm going to force it to display on the screen because it was already actually set up. So So I'm going to issue no logging, and then finally logging again. And I just saw it right there. So you can see that basically the TCP handshake was set up first. And here is my ASA at the IP address of .18. Here's my Syslog server at .7. And it does the sync act, finally the act. You do see some duplicate messages here. But this is what we want to see right here, is this client hello. And we can drill down into here, and that the ASA is basically sending over all of these cipher suites. The server responds back and says that it's going to negotiate with this cipher suite. And then we see the certificate exchange and just some more TLS data. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to say logging console notifications so that everything is displayed. And I want to make sure that what I receive or what I see here at the terminal, I'm also going to see in my Syslog server. Okay, so I'm just going to generate some random messages here. I'll just say shutdown on that interface, no shutdown, back out, go over to my Splunk server, click on the Cisco networking, click on my ASA, this is the time, 7:44, which I saw right here. The last message that was displayed was OK. We see the OK here at 7:44. At 7:43, we see the command execute, or the exit command was executed. The exit command was executed here at 7:43. Okay. And all of that data, if I just kind of go scroll back up, because I'm seeing, I can find it. One thing that you certainly do see, or don't see, is all of the you do not see any UDP messages at all. It's basically all TLS traffic, or TCP and TLS traffic. Okay. And you can also see that that data is encrypted right here. So that basically does it. Hopefully this was helpful.